Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Dawson Castanelli, D. Nelly Defense, and today is another beautiful day because we are back out on the range and we're going to be doing another installment to my grip tip videos. So this one specifically is going to be pertaining to being able to lock your wrist and why it is so important to do so for your follow-up shots. So let's get into it. In one of my first installments that we did to this series, we talked about locking the wrist, why it's so important, and some drills that you could do. So for one of the drills that you can do is come up underneath. I took the slide off of this gun, it's safe, and you can come up underneath and hit the front of your gun. Again, you can see this up and down motion of your whole arm, but you don't want to see your wrist breaking, right? So every time you shoot, if your wrist is breaking, then it's going to be harder for you to come back down on target, because every time your hands settle, it's going to be in a different spot. You're going to have to chase your sights around and be able to get back on target and then shoot again. So it's going to be really hard to actually stay focused and on target. So if you're shooting and you have your wrist is locked and you just have an up and down motion, well, every time you come back down, it's back on target. So it's extremely important. So that's a drill you can do. Take the slide off your gun and point it out and have somebody come up underneath and hit the bottom of that the frame there, because you're wanting to see, is your wrist breaking? It's extremely important to keep it very rigid. So that's one of the things that you can do to kind of help that out just a little bit. And we're going to do some shooting here just so that I can show you. We'll do some slow-mo videos as well so that I can show you why it is so crucial to lock those wrists out to be able to mitigate that recoil and be able to get those follow-up shots that you want to have. Okay, so now we're going to do a little bit of shooting so that you guys can see the differences between when you have a good wrist lockout and when you have a sloppy wrist lockout where that gun is really flopping around on you there. So this will be a pretty good wrist lock here. All right, so there was a couple shots with a good wrist lock, a solid wrist lock, to where my recoil management is going up and down, but it's not snapping back, right? The muzzle is not rising too much, and then I'm having to try to chase my sights around to be able to get back on target. So now I'm gonna have a really sloppy wrist lock here and show you a couple with that. Okay, so it's really hard to be able to manage that recoil and then come back down on target. I was having to chase every single time to try to even get anywhere close to where I needed to be. So now go ahead and come behind me here. All right, so I'm gonna do a good solid grip this time. I want you to kind of see what my gun does here, and then we'll go with that sloppy grip where your wrist is really breaking on you, and I'll show you the difference. All right, see, that's easy for me to fall right back on target every single time and get the hits that I need to get. So now we're gonna do a real sloppy grip where I just kind of let my wrist break and see how much harder it is to follow these sights here. It's a lot harder to follow those sights. So what we're going to do is show you a few tips that you could use to really help you lock that wrist out when you're shooting. Okay, I took the slide back off this gun so that I could show you, but one of the things that you can do to help you achieve that wrist lockout is imagining pulling this pinky finger back into the palm of your hand. When you do that, like right now, everything's pretty loose. As soon as I start to squeeze that and get it to where even I'm shaking a little bit there, it's locking that wrist out. Like, it's harder for me to be able to break anything right there because I am really squeezing tight. If that's too loose, then it's going to be easy to let that wrist kind of flop around on you a little bit. And again, we don't want that. It's way too hard to try to settle back down onto target and get good follow-up shots when that wrist is breaking and the muzzle is having so much rise. When your wrist is locked out, it keeps that muzzle from having that rise, and it allows you to find and acquire those sights faster or completely not ever lose those sights in the first place. Okay guys, so I hope that put into perspective just how important it is to truly lock out your wrists when you are shooting to help control and mitigate that recoil just a little bit, and to get those better follow-up shots a lot quicker, right? My goal is to do this grip tip series going into detail on specific aspects of the grip so that you guys get the full picture and that I can give you as much detail as I can to better help you figure out how to get that proper grip and be able to move along in your training that much faster. So guys, if this helped you out, please remember, subscribe, hit the like button, ring the notification bell, and comment down below if it did help you out. I thank you guys, I appreciate you, and remember, don't be caught off guard, train for the unexpected, and I will see you next time.